Today on Hands On Photography, we're not going to talk about that biggest, baddest camera that's out there. We're going to talk about smartphone cameras, and particularly all of the capabilities in there. And I have an amazing guest that's going to walk us through what he's doing with this trusty smartphone and why, for now, he has put down his trusty, handy Micro Four Thirds camera. Y'all stay tuned.
This is TWiT.
No ads, just the content. That's what you get when you join Club TWiT. You even get extras like TWiT Plus, our new bonus feed just for members, and exclusive access to the Club TWiT Discord community. Join now for just $7 a month and support TWiT as we continue to create top-notch podcasts you expect and deserve. We're just getting started, so be one of the first to join as we build Club TWiT from the ground up. You could be an early member. Go to twit.tv/clubtwit to learn more and sign up now. Thanks.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am Ant Pruitt, and this is Hands On Photography here on TWiT TV. Hope y'all are doing well. I am unbelievable as always on yet another fine Thursday where I get to sit down and share different tips and tricks that are going to help make you a better photographer and a better post processor, because they do go hand in hand. And every now and then I get just honored and lucky and blessed to be able to sit down with some amazing professional photographers out here and just have them sit down and chit chat and share different tips that they use in their day-to-day photography workflow that I think is not only going to help me, but it's going to help you as well. And today is one of those days. But before we jump to our guest, I want to say welcome to everybody that's catching the show for the very first time. Welcome to you. Now that you're here, go ahead and hit subscribe in whatever podcast application you're enjoying this on. I don't care if it's the Apple one or the Google one or the Spotify one or even the YouTube channel. We're on all of those different platforms. But if you're having issues trying to figure out the best way to subscribe, just head on over to the website, twit.tv/hop. That's twit.tv/HOP for Hands On Photography. And you'll see all of the subscription options there, as well as our previous episodes and show notes with all of the wonderful nuggets of information. Now, with that out of the way, I want to introduce today's guest. This is someone I've met a couple of years ago after moving here to the Bay Area. He is actually quite legendary in the twit.tv space and legendary in the photography space. He's doing a lot of stuff with bird photography, amongst other things, and just a flat out amazing veteran and just a great steward to the photography community. And I'm talking about the one and only Mr. Scott Bourne. How you doing, sir?
Hey, still not dead.
Nope, you're still not dead, and I am grateful for that.
Yeah, I managed to hang on this long. I do have a cold. I do want to mention that, so my voice is a little scratchy. I apologize. Well,
that's okay. You still sound fine to me, and you look good here on screen. Because I know you're normally doing your audio podcast. But what is this? I noticed you have this hat on your head. I see the camo, but there's an interesting little symbol on there. What is that?
First of all, if you see the camo, it's not working. I'm trying to hide from the IRS. See, I wear camo every day because I'm a bird photographer. Mm-hmm. And every day the phone rings and says, Scott, there's a blah, 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 15 minutes from here. I ain't got time to put on different clothes. So I just stay ready. This is my go bag shirt.
Nice.
But this hat proves I'm hip, because that right there is the Dark Glass logo. So I'm a bass player, and Dark Glass is the favored amplification system of metal bass players. So I have a camo hat with a Dark Glass logo, so I should get a little bit of pass on the cool issue.
I think you'll get the pass, sir. I think you'll get the pass. And I love that idea. That right there, that just shows a professional that's dialed in his game. You get into bird photography, and that's clearly your passion. And when the opportunity is there, you're able to take it. You're ready to take it. And that's just a simple 2-second thought of a life hack, if you will. Hey, how about just be dressed for the occasion?
And being ready. Well, it's not like wedding photography where the bride's going to show up when she says she will on Saturday. Mm-hmm. That's something you can always count on. Mm-hmm. You can't count on the groom, by the way, but you can count on the groom. And in bird photography, we photograph things that can fly,
right,
and don't want to be anywhere near us,
right.
So we kind of got to. The camo doesn't actually hide us from the birds. What it does is it just keeps them from being startled, because fast movement is what startles them. So I stay ready, and pre-pandemic, 300 days a year, I'm outdoors shooting.
Unbelievable. I envy you so much. I've spoken about wildlife and bird photography on the show a couple times, and have mentioned you and Mr. Rick Salmon and just everything that y'all have done. And one of these days I'm going to get as good as you all, but I'm still going to keep working at it and have fun doing it. But you mentioned the pandemic, and that has been just a ridiculous instance for all of us here around the world, and this affected our careers one way or another, and especially on the creative artist side of things. People had conferences and speaking engagements that they were doing regularly throughout the year, photo shoots or video content creation that they would do throughout the year, that things just totally changed. Now, yes, I know birds are still going to continue to fly in the pandemic, but things have changed for you. And I've noticed that you've been pivoting a little bit, you're still doing your bird photography, but I've noticed that you've also picked up one of these trusty smartphones and started to just dial in your game on those. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
This thing right here. Mm-hmm. Well, here's the deal. Okay, so I used to be a Canon shooter, and I've had a bunch of shoulder surgeries, health problems. I'm old. I'm officially older than dirt. And, when you get old, you can't do some of the same things you used to do. You're not as strong. You can't handhold an 800 millimeter lens. So about a little more than 5 years ago, I switched to Micro Four Thirds, brought into the Olympus system, because they had good ability to get me some reach with their telephoto lenses, but the gear was lighter and smaller. I was honored, blessed, and fortunate enough to have the honor of my lifetime when they called me after they found out that I had switched and said, "Would you be an Olympus visionary?" By the way, they did not pay me to switch, and I'm sad about that. But they made me a visionary. I was a visionary for about 5 years, and I enjoyed every second of it. I still enjoy Olympus. I love them. However, over the last 5 years, the phone calls for video have gone up, and fewer editors want my still photographs.
Right.
And more importantly, since I do this for a living, the dollar amounts for video have gone up, and the dollar amounts for stills have gone down. Yeah. And I have expensive tastes. So
expensive tastes? No.
I need to make a couple of bucks here and there. So I've been messing with video for 10 years, but I resisted it. Well, then I got a couple of offers to become, like a cinematographer on a couple of docs for doing some bird wildlife stuff that I have particular expertise for. And so I had to resign my Olympus visionary status because I was going to have to switch cameras.
Right.
And we thought everything was cool. And then the pandemic flared up again.
Of course.
And those two productions are put on hold for a year. So now what am I going to do? And then I thought, what's the camera that everybody always has with them? Smartphone. And in my case, iPhone. I spent my whole life basically online and trying to help people understand, enjoy, improve, and get better at photography.
Right.
I started Photo Focus, believe it or not, 22 years ago.
I had no idea that site had been around that long.
Actually,
photofocus.com.
24 years ago, November 2nd, 1998. It's almost 24 years. So I've been doing it online as long as anybody, and I want to help people. So I thought, I'm going to use the camera everybody has with them, and I'm going to see what happens. So I started a year-long project on January 5th, where I'm just using my iPhone 13 Pro as my main camera for video and stills, with two tiny caveats. I still have a couple of small contracts where for a couple of weeks I'll have to use my real cinema cameras, but everything else I'm going to do on an iPhone, and I'm going to find ways to make it work. It's particularly challenging as a bird photographer since there aren't any 600 millimeter lenses on iPhones. So I'm taking up digiscoping. Not yet. You're right. Yeah. I'm taking up digiscoping. I'm doing a bunch of stuff, but the footage that I'm getting from the iPhone, both still and video, particularly started me was the video. It just blew my mind because I was using a Blackmagic 6K Pro cinema camera. Okay. Now that shoots an incredible beautiful file, at 6K ProRes native. And then I went and I was shooting with the iPhone 13 Pro, and it shoots 4K 422.
Yep.
ProRes video. And I was like, I bet it's ProRes Lite. Nope, it's ProRes HQ. And then I found this app called Filmic Pro, which I really love, and use every day. And it gives you all the kind of controls over the iPhone that I have over the Blackmagic.
Yeah.
And so I then went into post, into Final Cut, and I put the ProRes footage from the Blackmagic up against the ProRes footage from the iPhone. They graded well together. They looked and meshed well together. I showed them to 10 or 12 people. I said, tell me which one of these came from an iPhone. Nobody could get it right. And I said, well, what the heck? Why am I going to carry this big, heavy thing if I can do it with this? So then I started messing around with another product called Firstlight that Filmic makes, which is an app that helps your camera work more like a DSLR. And there's others. Moment makes a camera app. That's from Firstlight. It gives you all the controls you need, the same thing you could have on a DSLR. And I started making still images. And then, because I'm an old guy, I still make prints. Back in my day, we used to make prints as the backup before there were computers. And this is a hard concept for young people to understand. There weren't always computers. Yeah. And so we would make a print, and then if we lost a negative, we could take a picture of the print. And so I started making some stills, and I was like, I'm going to print these 16 by 9. They look great. Yep. And then I used Topaz Gigapixel and blew them up to 20 by 30. They still look great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, this is what I'm going to do. For a year, I'm just going to use this as my camera. And so much so that I bought another iPhone. And that iPhone is the one I talk on and use the map function in CarPlay and all that stuff. And then I've dedicated this one and treated it like a camera. It's in my camera bag.
I love it. I've talked about Firstlight and also have spoken about Filmic Pro because I've used them from time to time. You care to share some of your insight as far as the tools that are inside of Filmic Pro and the tools inside of Firstlight? Because it's amazing. It's available on both iOS and Android. I think it is a little bit better on the iOS side of things from a functionality standpoint, but you still get a lot of the same beautiful footage from video or stills. You care to share some information about those tools?
Also, I want to talk about Double Take because that's a free app. And that was actually the thing that got me to buy the iPhone 11. When they did the iPhone 11 rollout, Filmic was on stage demonstrating how you could take this camera that has 3 lenses and shoot video simultaneously from 2 of them. And it looks like you do an MCU, a medium close up with one and a wide shot with the other. And it's like, now, wait a minute. How is this even possible? And you can record it as 2 discrete video streams. Yeah. You can record it as picture in picture, or you can record it as side by side. Now, normally you got to set up to take 2 shots. You got to set up a wide camera and a close-up camera. But now you don't.
And hope that the one camera is doing just fine as you're attending to the other camera.
If you're a one man or one lady band, you can't run. It's impossible to check them both. And the limitation is it only shoots in 1080p. But then again, 90% of the televisions in the world aren't 4K, so it looks great.
Exactly.
And you can upscale it if you need to. But it's just, to me, it's like science fiction. Now, this app is free. Okay, it's free. And there's no reason not to play with that. So I was messing around with that at Bosque. But the thing about Filmic Pro is you have every kind of control that you want as a cinematographer. You can do things like, you can use your zebras. You can use focus peaking. You can adjust very precisely, shutter angle. You can pick any codec you want, and it's just crazy how well it works. Now, if you move down from, this is a screenshot of it set to ProRes 422 HQ. If you move down to something like 1080p, or you move down to just standard Vlog, or log, I should say.
Mhm.
Then you can even use a bunch of cool presets that they have. They have like LUTs you can apply in camera. This is very sophisticated stuff. Now, people that don't do video may not appreciate all this jargon, but this is what you do with expensive cinema cameras.
Yep.
And it's an iPhone, the thing that's in your pocket. Now, it does need a lot of storage. So that's one of the reasons why Apple made the iPhone 13 available with a bigger storage allotment. It costs more.
Right. They had to.
Yeah, because the top quality footage you get about, if you were to empty your iPhone and shoot at the highest rate in Filmic Pro, you get about 2 hours of footage before you run out of storage. But you can always dump that off and then start again. But the limitations are minor. The ability to put this camera in places that you can't put a big camera are major. And now there's adaptive lenses. So I'm trying a bunch of different cases. I've tried cases from Moment. I'm using a case from Polar Pro right now.
Mhm.
You can put different lenses on these things to give yourself some more reach.
Mhm.
But then I found out about digiscoping. And a monster was unleashed.
Oh boy. Tell us about this.
So you can take a field optic, you're thinking like, binoculars or a big field scope,
Mhm.
and attach it to an iPhone.
Yeah.
Now, I realize I'm going back the other direction a little bit here because that's a heavy optic, but it's still not as heavy as carrying the big DSLR and the optic. So, we were excited we get out to 800 millimeters as a bird photographer because, like I say, birds don't generally want to hang out with us. And, they can fly. So that's an issue. So if you're far away and you're not stressing them, which is important to me because I'm actually an ornithologist first and a photographer second.
Right.
I love being able to be far away from them. Well, with my brand new Kawa TS99, I can do 3,000 millimeters. No problem. On an iPhone.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's insane. So now my ability to reach far is solved. I will be exploring some other lenses that do that. But bottom line is, even if I didn't add any lenses, this is basically, if you buy the iPhone 13 Pro or Pro Max, it's basically got a 24 to 70 zoom range.
Right.
It's got 3 lenses. That's the walk around lens for 90% of the photographers I know.
Exactly.
So you've got what you need in your pocket. And what it really starts making it possible to do is to concentrate on what you see and not the gear. And for all the beginners, I know everybody is stuck in like what f-stop and what camera should I buy and what lens should I use. But as you get further down your path in photography, you'll realize the gold comes in being able to spend all your time thinking about telling a story. And the less the camera is on your mind, the better.
Yeah, totally agree. Basically, you want to just be able to frame up your shot and be ready to shoot without all of the, should I be at this shutter speed and this ISO? Yeah. And the phones, they really do help with that, with all of the computational photography stuff nowadays. We've talked about that on this show before. As a matter of fact, we've had mutual friend, Mr. Jefferson Graham, on previously talking about his experience with the iPhone in particular, but just smartphone in general, and how he's been leveling up his photography and just doing amazing photo walks, and some of the stuff he's shown has just been absolutely beautiful. And you look at it and you're like, oh wow, that came from a phone. We've come a long way.
Oh yeah. Listen, I got to tell you, I feel like very lucky to have lived long enough to have seen this, to see this thing that I can carry in my shirt pocket that does footage that 10 years ago I wasn't getting out of $5,000 cameras.
Right. Imagine that, right?
And on the video side, to be able to do the quality that you can do, it's stupefying to me. And they keep trying to make it better.
Yeah.
I mean, it is amazing. And I know there's a lot of bias about, well, you need a real pro camera. And, having a pro camera doesn't make you a pro.
No.
Having a pro set of eyes.
Provision is what helps. Basically, provision.
And I like to think that if you give me a box camera from 1950, I'll be able to make an image with it that I can sell, because that's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
I license my photography, I license my video. I have to be able to do that because I'm fat and I like to eat. So, it's hard to eat if you're broke. So I have to get paid. So this year I'm putting it on the line. I'm going to license my footage. I've already licensed one picture that I made at Bosque with an iPhone 13 Pro. That's just, to me, that this opens up a whole new world, because think about people who, can't carry heavy gear for whatever reason. Older people, people who are, have disabilities, people who are mobility limited. This opens up all kinds of opportunities because they're not going to carry a fully rigged out RE camera with a Panavision lens and a $25,000 fluid head to the local. They're not doing that, and you don't need that. And by the way, the stabilization that you can get in Filmic Pro now, you don't even need a gimbal, my friend.
Yeah, it's smooth.
Cinematic.
It is so smooth. Now, you've been talking about these videos. You sent me a couple of videos that I could share for the show. I'm
driving down a road at Bosque del Apache, New Mexico. Okay. This is literally unfolding as I'm driving. I can't stop the car, get out my Blackmagic Cinema camera. It takes 30 seconds to boot it up, get it set up on the tripod.
Yeah.
These geese are flying over this tree, which happens to perfectly be framing the sunrise. They're not going to wait.
Just beautiful.
So I got one hand on the steering wheel pretty much and one hand holding the phone, and I get this footage. It was, if you see it on Vimeo in full res, there's no banding. It's really nice. And
absolutely beautiful.
And this is just the car is running. I pull the car over. I'm on a dirt road. I see this. I roll the window down real quick. I grab the phone. I press record, and I pan with the birds handheld with my right hand still on the steering wheel. And I looked at the footage and I went, holy moly. and to me, it was a very freeing experience. And it was like, I got footage of a beautiful 7-8 seconds. And by the way, lots of videos are compiled based on 7 or 8 seconds of this, 7 or 8 seconds of that. And I thought, this is really important that I explore this. And I want to make it clear that I think most photography education comes from the process of discovery. In other words, you can't be what you can't see. And I want people to get permission, so to speak. If they see someone who's getting paid for this stuff, doing it, and you can see the results they get, it frees them up to say, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And trust me, I'm one of those people. If I can do it, anybody can do it, because I'm the least amongst you. But it is crazy to think that, people may not know how much power is in their pocket. And you mentioned Jefferson. We do a show together called the iPhone Photo Show podcast. And a lot of the questions we get are feature requests. And we have to tell people, well, that feature's already there.
Right.
They don't even know.
Right. Didn't even know it.
Can do it. So yeah, it really is quite good. And I think you have another video that I actually, by the way, that footage you just saw there, that's just straight out of camera.
Unbelievable.
Ungraded.
Unbelievable. Now this one here, though, this is ridiculous. Just next level. It's just,
he's honking.
Oh, unbelievable. And this is with the phone.
Yeah, it's with a cell phone.
Now you get in all of the bird's sound. And this is from the phone's microphones that captured it.
So that's the other thing. You can attach real microphones.
Yep.
And do all kinds of stuff. Rode makes this thing called the micro AI that will basically adapt any microphone with a 3.5 millimeter connection to an iPhone. In fact, you can put 2 in at once. It also works with computers. It works as an interface.
And what's that called? What is that called again? Rhodes what?
Rode Micro AI. It's
Micro
one of their
AI.
products. $80, a little expensive, but one of the problems is some mics work better than others. When, ever since Apple had the genius idea to take the 3.5 millimeter jack out.
I take it you're pretty happy about that decision.
Yeah, if it were up to me, that guy's next line would be, "Would you like fries with that?" I'm hoping someday, against hope, that they'll put it back in. But you got to connect everything to the phone somehow.
Right.
For those that don't have the luxury that I do of having an audio background, and I use a separate field recorder, I use a very expensive dedicated field recorder that's there, just like you see on a movie set with a sound guy with a boom pole.
Mm-hmm.
I'm recording the audio into that device, and then I'm matching it up in post. But I have occasionally, when it's run and gun, when I just, like when I do have one of those, it's enveloping right in front of me.
Yeah.
I've always got a mic right there, and I can just go with that sound. And in a couple of cases, I have used the microphones on the camera, and they're good enough that with some sweetening in post.
That's what I was going to say. Especially with the iPhone microphone and their noise canceling capability on it.
Oh, no, wait now.
Mm-hmm.
Not on the 13, though.
Not on the 13?
There's a bug.
Oh.
It doesn't work on the 13.
Oh.
And Apple has kind of been wishy-washy about acknowledging it, or whether or not it's a bug or a feature, or whether or not it'll be back or it won't. But the 12 and the 11 do have the noise canceling, but it doesn't really matter, because if you're standing in nature, there's not a whole lot of like streetcar sounds.
True.
And if you're just trying to get birds honking as I go by, it works. I also have occasionally used it as a scratch track, just so that I can match up the stuff that I do with my FX6 and my other big microphones. I have to say that there's a lot of power here. And one of the advantages to recording in ProRes, by the way, is that you can record in 48.1, not 44.
Right.
It's not a big deal, but get a little better audio quality.
Yep.
Every little bit helps. And the fact that they've built this in is pretty cool. So I'm going to forgive them on the audio jack. You buy the $80 device and you connect any mic you want to the iPhone.
You'll forgive them this time.
This time, but it is on my wish list. I'm trying to get a meeting with Tim Cook. I've been trying for this meeting for 6 years, but anyway, I have to get a hold of Justine, our friend Justine. She can get a meeting.
Yeah. Outstanding. Well, Mr. Bourne, this has been a lot of fun and a lot of information. We've been talking about video here a little bit more on the show. I've done a couple episodes of just walking through the video editing process, just doing simple cuts and things of that nature. And we're going to continue and dig into using whatever camera you have. It doesn't necessarily have to be this Blackmagic 6K that I'm staring into right now.
Yeah, you don't want to. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be that.
And it is good. It's still great for still photography too. Like I say, use an app like the Moment Camera app or Firstlight or any one of these apps. And there's a whole bunch of apps. There's apps that let you do long exposures.
Yep.
There's Hyperlapse, which is a fun app for doing crazy time lapse. The time lapse capability on this thing, my friend Jefferson just makes time lapses almost every day that are just mind blowing. It's
so much easier to do time lapse on the phone versus with the traditional body cameras, if you will. I'll just say
it does all the work for you. In fact, the other day I set up a time lapse. I live on the backside of Olympic National Park out in the woods. I put my iPhone on a motorized
on a slider. Oh, nice.
And I'm just like, come on, this is just too much fun. It's just it should be illegal. Now I gotta say it's the best part about photography for me, Ant, is it's what keeps me alive. It's my reason for living. It's the only thing I'm good at, and it's the only thing that matters in my life. And the fact that I still get to do it, every time I get to do it, I'm grateful. And every time I get to share my stories with somebody, however I make them, whatever tool I use, I'm grateful. And photography is a gift. Those of us that do it, I call us high priests and priestesses of memory protection. We're out there protecting memories of our own, for other people, of certain places, in my case, of lots of birds. And it's a true calling, and it's not something to be taken lightly. It's my joy, and I'm so glad to talk about it with you. And if ever I can do anything to help any of your audience, just to reach out. And I'm happy to try to share my experience and do the best I can for them.
They will definitely reach out. Tell us where we can find you and some of the things that you've been working on, and that, well, at least the stuff that you can actually share. Let us know where we can find you.
There's all these secrets. I'm on the every Friday now with my friend Jefferson Graham from USA Today, former tech columnist from USA Today, and current host of PhotoWalk's TV series, which is shot almost exclusively on an iPhone, by the way.
Yep.
We do a podcast together called the iPhone Photo Show, and it's at iPhonePhotoShow.com. I'm on the Twitter at Scott Bourne, ScottBourne. And I'm writing for Photo Focus again. Even though I founded it in 1998, I sold it to Rich Harrington, my buddy, but I'm still occasionally a contributor there. And I'm going to start doing a mobile column every other Monday, I think. And
busy.
I'm like a bad penny. You can't get rid of me, Ant. I'm everywhere. So
outstanding.
And you can email me, Scott@scottbourne.com. I answer my own email. So if I can help, I want to.
Outstanding. Well, Mr. Bourne, thank you again so much for your time. I really do appreciate you coming on the show and sharing all of this knowledge with our audience.
So thankful to be invited. Have a good day.
You too, sir. All right, everybody. That was, wow, just a massive knowledge dump on us today. And I am really, really grateful for it. And quite honestly, I just love the fact that he's just reiterating the stuff that a lot of us already know, but we just don't quite live it, if you will. These smartphones, they really are capable. You know, there's some things that a larger image sensor is going to be able to help you, capture better. Yeah. But a lot of the stuff that we want to capture day-to-day life, whether it's video or photos, can be handled on a smartphone. And I appreciate him continuing to push that message out. Right. So, folks, that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for the continued support. Again, be sure to subscribe in whatever podcast application that you enjoy us on. In particular, if you're an Apple podcast user, make sure you hit the little rating options in there and give me a star rating. I'm not going to be upset if you leave me 5-star ratings. I promise you I won't get upset with that. And also make sure to put a comment down there, because what that does is Apple will work its little secret sauce and algorithmic magic and help push hands-on photography up in the ratings and help other people discover the show. All right. So if you do that for me, I'm forever grateful. Also, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, feel free to shoot me an email, hop@twit.tv. Again, that's hop@twit.tv. I am still going through our Sunrise Photography Challenge. That show will be coming up really, really soon. And we're going to go through those images and have a lot of fun with it. And you can also give me a follow over on the social medias. I am Ant_Pruitt on Twitter. I am also Ant_Pruitt on Instagram. All right. Thanks again for the support. Thank you to my man, Mr. Victor, for making me look and sound good each and every week. Now, even though there's still the crazy pandemic, safely create and dominate, and we will catch you next time. Y'all take care.